Hello, I'm Seth Tom. I'm standing here in the middle of downtown Sanford. This spot where these two tracks cross is very important to the history of Sanford. If these two tracks didn't cross in this exact spot, then Sanford as we know it would be a very different place, and it might not even exist today. Today we delve into the history of Sanford on this edition of Discovery Carolina. The history of Sanford begins in the Cumnock area at a coal mine. The coal from this mine had to be moved to the people who needed it. After the deep river proved to be too shallow to move the coal by water, a state-chartered railway was formed and called the Western Railroad. In 1859, the Western Railroad went through the area now known as Jonesboro. A depot was built and the town of Jonesboro was born. One of the properties that the Western Railroad crossed over belonged to a Mr. N.R. Bryan. Mr. Bryan owned a plantation that once sat where the Sanford post office is today. The name of the plantation was the Rose Plantation, and that is where Rose Street in Sanford gets its name from. After Mr. Bryan sold the land rights to the Western Railroad, he was aggravated by the noisy trains that left ashes all over his property. But it was too late for him to do anything about it, so he and his wife just had to live with it. In 1851, the North Carolina General Assembly chartered another railroad called the Chatham Railroad, and in 1871, that project's name was changed to the Raleigh and Augusta Airline Railroad. One of the planners of this new railroad was named Colonel Charles Ogburn Sanford. The very first plans for the new railway had the tracks running near the already existing Western Railroad. The plan was going fine until an attempt was made to buy land rights from Mr. Bryan. Mr. Bryan was already upset about one set of train tracks on his property, and he didn't want another, so he made the price of his land unreasonably high. So the plans for the Raleigh and Augusta Airline Railroad were changed, and land rights were purchased from N.R. Bryan's brother. Those tracks cross over what is now Warner Boulevard near the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. In 1872, the first train from Raleigh arrives in the Roland Store area, which at that time was becoming known as Sanford. This area where the two tracks cross was now a major transportation hub for the area, because it was the connecting point for two of North Carolina's major cities, Raleigh and Fayetteville. Had Mr. N.R. Bryan not made his land so expensive, the crossing point for the two rail lines would have been in Jonesboro. In 1880, Jonesboro was the largest town in Moore County. However, the city of Sanford, which was incorporated on February 11, 1874, soon outgrew Jonesboro and continued to grow for some time. Local business leaders in the Sanford and Jonesboro areas came together and lobbied for their own county, and in July 2, 1907, Lee County, formed from parts of Moore and Chatham counties and named after General Robert E. Lee, became the 98th county in the state of North Carolina. In 1947, the town of Jonesboro was struggling because not that many taxpayers lived in the town of Jonesboro anymore. The only logical solution was to merge Sanford and Jonesboro together, and on July 1, 1947, Jonesboro and Sanford became one city, and Jonesboro became known as the Jonesboro Heights area. Sanford is an area known for the production of bricks. Other industrial businesses have made Sanford home too. Sanford is also known to have a rich history in pottery and in farming. However, Sanford natives might argue that the best natural resource is the people of Sanford.
You are watching 4CNC.